Hello, everyone. This is Leanne with Diamonds and Doxies. I'm sure that you know that already because you're here. Today we're going to do a whip and chat as best we can. I'm doing, let me get the little tag here for you, make it easier for you to see. We're doing Christmas Joy by Femke Deborah, and this is for the Femke Deborah event that starts November, and I've got an early start, and I am right in here, so almost halfway at the point. So anyway, I am using my baggie storage from Bella Art de Nicole. Absolutely loving it. No complaints. I've actually ordered another one. So yeah. All right, well, let me get zoomed in better. And I believe last time during my kit up in chat, it was mentioned to me I was out of the frame. So I apologize, and I'd like to try to remedy that. So let me get set up and I'll be right back. Also, you may notice that I have to stop sometimes because, well, Max has a friend coming over and the dogs will be barking some. So I will pause so you're not inundated with that nonsense. So don't go anywhere. Okay, I am back. I've put in my headphones because to talk, so hopefully you won't get as much background noise as you might otherwise. I've got this ring light up here turned off, so hopefully it's not too much of a glare for you, and hopefully I can see well enough. So let's get this party started, eh? Okay, let's see. I don't know where that voice came from, but let's try to keep it put away. So anyway, hello. I hope everyone here is doing well. Be sure to let me know down in the comments what you are up to. Today is Tuesday, the 28th of October. It's my precious niece Kristen's birthday. And we're not even going to talk about how old she is because I think she's older than me at this point. So, but anyway, we're getting closer to Halloween, which is, I've always passed out candy, but this year we don't live on a street that's conducive to trick-or-treaters. It's the houses are set way back and we've got a long driveway. Poor things, they would, yeah, they would collapse from exhaustion, I think, if they came to the front door. So this will be our first year here for Halloween, but just judging by how the lack of decorating and stuff is, I don't think anybody's expecting trick-or-treaters. And I totally get it. I mean, honestly, if I had kids that lived right over here, I would take them elsewhere to go trick-or-treating, to more of a traditional neighborhood. And, I've always enjoyed seeing the little kids because they get so excited, right? It's funny because, you spend so much time telling them, don't talk to strangers, don't take candy from strangers, don't, stranger danger. And then we go, okay, now you can go up to complete strangers and ask them for candy. And it just seems, their little faces are like, I don't know about this. But anyway, they're so cute. They're absolutely adorable. So I'll miss that. But at the same time, I'm kind of glad I've done it for so many years. Obviously with my kids. I grew up trick-or-treating as well. It was just on our block. But then we had, I don't know, a lunatic or two try to poison kids and, try to put pins in candied apples. So then it was like, okay, no more homemade treats, which sucked because my favorite things were popcorn balls. And people had to quit making them. My grandmother wouldn't let me eat any. And so that was not good. But, my neighbor who made them all the time, she was an older lady. And she would make some just for the kids, you know, right there on our street. And we'd pick them up. You know, she'd call us. And or, you know, when we were out, we were always outside. So she'd come outside and say, I'm finished with the popcorn balls. And we'd go get them. But she wouldn't pass any out at Halloween for that reason. But, yeah, it was... So, you know, when I got older, I mean, teenagers didn't trick-or-treat when I was growing up. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with teenagers trick-or-treating at all. But, you know, so I didn't trick-or-treat as a teen. We were more into Halloween parties, you know. But, anyway, so then when, you know, I had kiddos, well, of course, you know, we have to go trick-or-treating, and it was so much fun. Absolutely enjoyed it. Yeah, and then, you know, Max would stay home and pass out candy, so that was always convenient. And then once my kids got older and they didn't want me taking them trick-or-treating, and we actually lived in a neighborhood, because there at first we had to leave because we lived in patio homes, and those too were not conducive, you know, because the whole front of the house was a patio home. So your garage door, once you shut your garage door, your whole yard was shut off. So it was not intended for trick-or-treaters. So we would have to go to other neighborhoods. Well, we finally moved to a neighborhood that was phenomenal for trick-or-treaters, and they would, you know, yeah, we would run out of candy, and, you know, they'd come home to dump their candy because they, you know, the bags were too full because they used pillowcases, and they'd dump out their candy, and I'd put it back in my bowl, and we'd continue on until they finally got home, and it was like, I'm not going out anymore. Okay, we'll finish passing out this candy, and then we're done. But oh my goodness, we had so many kids, and it was so nice to live in a neighborhood, you know, that the kiddos could go trick-or-treating. I mean, we were the neighborhood that people came from other places to let their kids go trick-or-treating. And I know some people are anti that, and I was not. I always felt like it was a blessing. You know, it's like if someone comes to your neighborhood to trick-or-treat, it's because you're so blessed. You know, you're something special. So I always loved it. But yeah, and then, you know, a few more moves or whatever, but even once the kids, you know, were not kids anymore, and they were taking their own kids, or my daughter was taking her sons out trick-or-treating, they'd always come by. But then I lived in, you know, another neighborhood that was like that too, where we had so many trick-or-treaters, and that was always fun because, I mean, I would, you know, pull out the fire pit, put it in the driveway. I'd fix cookies and have soft drinks and waters and fix hot dogs on the grill, and whoever wanted a hot dog could come by and get one. You know, adults, I wouldn't let a child, of course I had candy, but I wouldn't let a child take a cookie unless their parents were okay with it. And they were all okay with it. I never had any parents say no, you know, I never did. So, but, you know, I wanted to be cautious. So, and yeah, we had a lot of people, a lot of adults were like, heck yeah, I don't have to cook now. So grab a hot dog or two. And there were some neighbors that for the adults would have some adult beverages. I didn't do that. You know, I was like, okay, you take care of that. I'll have the sodas and the waters and stuff like that. So that's what we did. And yeah, I continued with all of that. Now I quit doing the grill part, you know, but I still would, you know, go sit out front and pass out candy and talk to the kiddos and, you know, all of that. Let me move this up a little bit there. yeah, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. By the time the teenagers really came out, I really didn't have much candy left. And then I go inside. The only downside to our neighborhood was apparently we were the neighborhood that passed out full-size candy bars. Well, I have never in my life bought full-size candy bars in bulk before. You know, I mean, I was like, what? That's for the insanely rich people, you know? So I never did. But what I did is I'd make these little baggies, you know, and like this. They were smaller than this, but you know, this kind of little bag. And I'd buy several types of candy and then just put like one of each in there. And so everybody could take a bag. And that was good. I felt like. I mean, you got a variety anyways. But I actually did have one lady. She said, you know, when her daughter picked up one of those little bags, she said, you know, this neighborhood is supposed to have full-size candy bars. I was like, is that right? You know, and I'm thinking, well, chick, you know, always loved the little kids, did not always care for their parents. But for the most part, all parents were great, you know. Yeah. But I'll never forget, there was this one little girl. She was absolutely freaking adorable. She was adorable. And I don't know, she may have been anywhere between 5 and 6, somewhere in there. I mean, she was little, but she was not like a toddler. And she had on the cutest, the best princess dress I have ever seen in my life. And she was with her dad. And I commented, I said, oh my gosh, you are the prettiest princess I have ever seen. And I was like, I absolutely love your costume. And she said, my dad got it for me off of Etsy. And he said, see, single dads can do stuff too. And I was like, good for you, Dad. And I mean, I just love when dads step up to the plate. And I know that's a thing now. And probably this younger generation's like, why wouldn't they? Well, they haven't always. So, you know, it was like, I'm so happy. That little girl is so lucky to have you as a dad. So, anyway, so I won't have any of that. Kind of glad, because I would have to sit outside because my dogs would lose their mind if I was constantly going to the door, and I always had a fear of one of them running out because, you know, I'm a bad owner and I don't have my dogs trained like I should. I admit it. And this way I don't have to worry about it. I really don't. So I know they do a lot of trunk and treats around here too, so I don't really know how many kids actually go trick-or-treating anymore. And I personally, as an adult, never been to a Halloween party. To be real honest with you, as an adult, I have really not had much desire to go to a party at all, you know. Dinner party, perhaps, you know, but, you know, just, yeah. Yeah, I just haven't, as an adult, it just does not appeal to me. I think it's great for those that do, but man, I've just gotten so old and set in my ways, and some people would say boring. I don't know. I kind of like boring. Yeah, I kind of like boring. But anyway, so it is, like I said, October 28th, which means that this weekend begins in November. And which means Thanksgiving is around the corner. So if you're in the U.S., we have Thanksgiving. It all goes back to the settlers, the original settlers here. And I love Thanksgiving. I love the food. To me, it is, well, so just a little backstory. So when I was growing up, as many of you know, my grandparents raised me, and I was born 10 months after my grandparents, my uncle, my mother's brother, passed away at the age of 17 from cancer. And, I was always told that I was, a gift from God for my grandmother because, when I was a kid, she would cry like daily. And of course, looking back on it now, I'm like, well, of course he hadn't died that long ago, I'd never known him. So when you're a kid and you're like, 7 years old, it's like, well, 7, that's my whole life, but now, of course, now that after I got older, I was like, well, of course she was crying after 7 years, of course. But anyway, his birthday was the end of November, and so sometimes his birthday would fall on Thanksgiving. So needless to say, Gary, that was his name, his favorite holiday was Thanksgiving because it would turn into like a birthday party too. And so I came along, and, my grandmother, for my sake, she would do Thanksgivings, but it just was never, it was not just full of joy, I don't want to say that my grandmother didn't enjoy it or that it was horrible or anything like that, because that's not the case at all. We had family over and, cousins and stuff. And so, she did, but it was not her favorite holiday. And I can't say that I blame her. Yeah. But I always liked it as a kid because, like I said, I grew up just me and my grandparents. So, and, I had friends in the neighborhood and stuff, but it was just us. And so it was fun when we had people over. And I think I was always meant to have a family reunion, and just never, it just wasn't going to happen. So, given my circumstances. So, I really did enjoy it. And I, like I said, I love the food. I just remember the food being so good. My grandmother was such a good cook. And it just like, this is the one time a year I get my favorite foods. And yeah, so anyway. So I'm thinking did I fix that? I don't think I fixed Thanksgiving last year. I think we went to my daughter's house. Yeah, I think so. So this year, I think that I'm going to fix Thanksgiving. I need to check with her because I think she said they're going to be out of town, but I don't know. But, yeah, I haven't cooked in so long, especially a big meal, because again, as some of you know or might remember, I think some of y'all are new, so you might not, but I hurt my shoulder while packing last year, and then I completely tore up my shoulder moving into this house last year, or this year in February. So I wasn't able to lift my arm. Then I've had surgery, so it's all good now. It's not 100%, but it will be. And I can cook, so yeah, I may do that. That's what I'm like 75% going, yeah, I'll cook Thanksgiving. The trouble with me, if I don't cook Thanksgiving, is I don't get my dressing that goes with my, meal. And to me, that's what it's all about. I mean, I'll end up getting rid of all the leftovers except for the dressing. I mean, I'll end up putting some individual serving sizes in Ziploc bags, getting all the air out, and putting them in the freezer. And then just heating them up when it's time, putting them in boiling water, and bam, I've got like fresh dressing. And that's my most favorite part of the whole meal. So if I want that, I have to cook the dinner myself. Now, can I make dressing and take it somewhere? Well, I can, but I actually use the juices from the turkey. And so could I use, turkey broth in a can or a box or whatever? Yes, technically, yes. Yes, I can. Does it taste the same? Well, I can't say because I've never done it. Because in my mind it wouldn't be, and I would waste all that time because I start in advance making my dressing. It's not something I whip up real fast. And I sure would hate to go through all of that cooking, the cornbread and browning, toasting and making my bread super stale and, chopping up all the veggies and all that, only for it to not taste good. So, no, I haven't done that. Now, could I buy a small, like, roasting hen instead? I could. And then I could just debone it and then, use it in other dishes. I could do that for sure. But I don't know. So I don't know. But yeah, I guess I could do that. I just talked that into my head. Uh-oh. Drill down. See how that one just went flying? That happens to me all the time. So that's why I don't really save my trash, because I don't really know. Like, I'll see that drill and I'll just put it over here in this little trash section, and I don't know if it was trash. Obviously it wasn't. So I hate to accuse a kid of being trashy when actually it's me being messy. So I don't know. What are y'all doing for Thanksgiving? What are y'all gonna do? Honestly, I'd rather do Thanksgiving and let someone else do Christmas. Now, when my kids were growing up, I wanted to do Christmas at my house because it was so much easier. Yes, it was a lot of work. Yes, I had to get up. But one thing I didn't have to do was corral 3 kids who all they wanted to do was stay in their pajamas and play with their toys to go eat. So I would try every year to have it. Didn't always, but I didn't mind, is I guess my point. I didn't mind. I'd fix breakfast for the family, for our family, and then start working on Christmas dinner. And sometimes Christmas dinner would look different. Yes, we've had the traditional turkey and ham and all that. Never done the prime rib because, I didn't grow up doing it. That was for fancy people. We weren't fancy. And so I've never learned to cook one. And I've read how to do it. And, I could try it, but I don't want to try it on Christmas, right? And they're not cheap. And I think, what if I messed it up? So it's like, you know what? Stick with what you know. So, yeah. But we've had Mexican food. We've done Italian food. We've done, one time we did hamburgers, with all the stuff, like you would if you were at a restaurant that you could put on your hamburger. We've done jambalaya. Yeah, Mexican food several times. And I mean, I'd even set it up, you know, because I'd have to rent tables, you know, to fit everybody. And I bought, you know, like the baskets for the chips and the little buckets for the salsa and what have you. And that was a lot of fun. So I don't know. I mean, that's something that we could do. We've done that many times. Even at my daughter's house, they'll do, my son-in-law will fix fajitas, and then I'll bring tamales. And yeah. And then I'll, you know, like a big pot of pinto beans and rice and, you know, all the guacamole, all the good stuff. Tortillas. Yeah. But I do think I'm going to make out a menu anyways for Thanksgiving. See, I need to get rid of some of this excess over here. There we go. See, I just throw it. I am quite the messy diamond painter, I'm afraid. So, yeah, that's my thoughts right now. I know we need to go to the grocery store later, and I actually think I am going to get some stuff to make a roast dinner. I haven't done that in a while, and that would be nice. We've got a little cool front coming. Great time for having roast. And that'll be a true test. Well, not really a true test because it is harder for Thanksgiving, but, you know, that'll be a true test for me being able to lift heavy pots and stuff. So we shall see. And yeah, I for a long time, I just haven't had the desire to cook anything. I mean, just like, nope, no desire. And then sometimes I get like, oh, I want to cook everything, you know. I'll go on a kick of cook. That's the kick Max likes. But like, I haven't even made breakfast in a long time. I don't know if you saw me pick that one off, but I could tell that it had a tab on it. So, not sure if the camera is picking it up, but there's a tab right there. So that cannot stay. It'll make all of my drills cattywampus. We do not want cattywampus. But yeah, I'm thinking about doing that. So, oops, gosh, that was terrible. That was terrible. Here, I'm going to have to take some time to straighten these out. I don't know what the heck I was thinking. Obviously, I wasn't. Max also likes meatloaf, so I think I'll get stuff to make meatloaf. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan, but I do like the way I make it. It does taste good. Let's see. So I don't know how many of y'all watched Kara's, I think she called it tossed salad, but it was small shops, you know, friend mail, stuff that was sent to her, stuff that she had bought, etc., etc. And she was demonstrating this roller from Carissa's Craft Corner, and it's for rounds. You know, you roll it, and it's supposed to, it got like these lines on it. It's like a roller, and it will straighten them up. And everybody knows it's rounds just like to sometimes take a mind of their own. And no matter how straight you're placing them or you think you're placing them, you step back, and it's like, oh, crap. So anyway, I was like, well, I need one of these. So I went. I couldn't find one. So I posted on her Facebook group, and she private messaged me and said that Kara showed them too soon. She hasn't made them in production yet. that she's just, had done a prototype. So I was like, okay, well, let me know, when you get it. Well, I ended up getting, imagine this, ended up getting 2 ads for 2 different places for one of them. Not from any small shop, but just like, how Amazon, not Amazon, gosh, Facebook gives you ads. Well, that's the way it was. And I was like, no. I didn't even go look to see how much they were, because I was like, no, I want to order someone from someone in the community. And yeah, so we'll see if I ever get one. She said she wasn't happy with them yet. And so I said, okay. All right then. But I don't know. I think Kara said that some people have been using some that were similar but not the same. So if you know what I'm talking about and you've used it, let me know. Let me know what your thoughts are. Like I said, I'd rather buy from a small shop. I like to support small shops if possible. If it's a good fit for them and me. So, yeah, let me know. Let me know. So I don't think y'all have been hearing music. I hope you have not, because if you do, then YouTube will probably do a copyright, which, I don't make any money off videos. So, but one day I might, one day I might. And I heard from a creator, not one from the diamond painting community, but from other channels that I watch. There was like a travel channel, and they had went to, what do you call it? Mississippi, no, Memphis. They went to Memphis, and, which is like the blues capital of the world. And I guess some music got in there, and so it ended up getting a copyright, and he ended up having to pull the video down because the people who had the copyright on it put ads. He's like, you couldn't even watch the video because it was just ads. Ad. Like after every couple minutes, it was an ad. And so he just took the video down. Yeah, because he said, I don't want people, he's like, I would be upset. And, he goes, and I wasn't getting a penny of it. They were getting all of the revenue. So what do they care if, it hurts my channel? So, yeah. And I have had copyright strikes. A couple of them, well, pretty much all of them were no, not reels, but instead of fighting it, a lot of it, I just would go, okay, well, just remove that music. So if you're ever watching a video and all of a sudden you're like, why is it just dead silent? Well, because I just chose to remove that music from my video. I allowed YouTube to remove it. So, yep. But there are people out there who try to claim copyright. I remember even my aunt. She was an amateur. Well, she was an amateur photographer. She had been published, but she never got paid for it. It was just, they asked and she said, okay. But she was amazing. I mean, she could have been a professional, absolutely. But anyway, it was her hobby. And she got some amazing, there was some special moon, and she had taken some pictures and posted them on Facebook. And she got a copyright violation saying that that image was owned by a company in China. She was like, this image came from my camera. No one copyrights the moon. What the heck? And then she posted a video. She did it all on Facebook. She posted a video of the moon, you know, and the clouds going in front of it and stuff. And off in the distance was a dog barked, you know, and somebody claimed that that was their music. And it was like, what the heck is going on here? You know, so Facebook would flag her stuff and be like, no, you can't put that out there. And I said, you need to fight that. And so she finally did. And you know, she lost one and won the other, but it's like, this is just so wrong that people can just go in and say, you know, that's mine. And, you know, maybe out of 100 people you do that to, one of them doesn't do anything about it. And then, you know, you get all the rewards and you've done nothing. So, yeah. But yeah, I had gotten some instrumental music that was AI, and somebody claimed that that was their song, that was Jingle Bells. It was like, no, it's not. And all I had to do was say, no, it's not. And they're like, okay, they've dropped their claim. So I know there's people out there just doing it for the sake of doing it. Uh-oh, hold on. All right, I'm back. As you can see, I continued diamond painting while the dogs were barking because they were getting ready to go eat. So I continued working until they're gone now, for a little bit anyway. So maybe the dogs will not bark. I've opened up the door so they can go out. So, yeah. But anyway, I don't remember what I was talking about now. Was I still talking about the copyright stuff? I don't know. I do not know. So, you know, as some of you may know, I've been wanting to get a crafting thing together. You know, like once a month thing, just hang out and craft and, you know, just be with like-minded people. And so me and Ann did that. And it was absolutely a blast. So it's going to have to happen again. And what we did was we rented out a room, or reserved a room, I should say. It didn't cost anything, at the library. And it was great. It was great. I don't know how it would be if it got, you know, more than another person, because the room was, they do have bigger rooms, but I don't know if they're designed for crafting. I don't know. But anyway, so I've been thinking. So as some of you know that have been here a little bit, Max has a 2-car garage with a work area. That's his man cave. It's insulated. It was insulated when we bought the house, so it was always designed for that. I mean, I think it was more like a game room for them. But anyway, it's insulated, and it's got a mini split in it. So, you know, you can be out there and in the cold and in the, you know, in the heat. So I haven't talked to him yet, but I am going to talk to him and say, look, what are the chances? Because right now he does have an old 1961 Harley Davidson in there that needs to be rebuilt. And he hasn't really worked on it, but it's really not taking up that much room. If we, you know, if I bought I don't know, maybe 3 or so of those those white folding tables, and, you know, 2 or 3, I really liked the chairs that they had at the library. They had rollers on them. They were, you know, comfortable enough. But they folded, you know, so that was cool. I had never seen a chair like that, so that was cool. Anyway, and kind of have those out there and maybe start doing it at my house. the thing is how big would it get? You know, I don't know. I don't know how many crafters are out in this area. And part of me is afraid to put it on like my neighborhood, or not my neighborhood, but my little city, town, whatever you want to call it, Facebook to see, because you're just kind of opening yourself up to, I don't know, you know, I guess, I don't know. Anyway, I'm thinking about doing that. It was so much fun. It is, I have absolutely, positively enjoyed getting to know Anne. She's just, I mean, yeah, it's really cool, because I really don't have friends that I can see in person and talk to on the daily. I have acquaintances, I have people I used to be really good friends with, things like that, but we essentially don't have anything in common anymore. How did I miss these smiley faces? So, you know, it is cool to meet somebody. And then I wonder, you know, is there somebody else out there that, you know, really doesn't have many friends either? Or who doesn't have any friends that like to craft? Or, I mean, because it doesn't have to be diamond painting. It just would have to, I mean, it could be cross stitch or, you know, crochet or whatever, coloring, whatever that you do that you could do at a folding table. So, I don't know. So if any of you do live in the Houston metro area, mostly on the southeast side, or you don't mind driving to the southeast side, let me know. Let me know. What we did this, you know, we had our first time, and I was tried to book for our next one, but you can only book 15 days out, so I'll have to wait. But last time we had 2 hours, and I thought, we'll see, that may be too many hours. Y'all, it was not. I mean, we could, 3 hours is the maximum you can have at the library. So, you know, we'll do it for 3 hours next time. But then we go eat lunch. There's a little sandwich shop just around the corner. That is so good. So good. Yeah, so we went and ate there and got to visit for another hour. It was very nice. But you don't realize how quickly 2 hours go when you're diamond painting and chatting. It goes really fast. Really, really fast. So we're going to try to do it for 3 hours. Of course, if you came out here, you could say, I can't stay for that long. I can only do an hour, or, you know, whatever. You know, no one's saying you have to clock in and stay for the whole thing, you know, just as long as you can. And no one's saying you have to go eat lunch with us. You know, none of that. There's no requirements. The only requirement would be no drama, you know. We're not gonna, everybody has opinions, and so, you know, we're not gonna discuss things that are divisive. Only things that we can focus on that we have in some, you know, similar taste or in common. And we have a lot of things in common, right? All of us have something in common. Sometimes it's, you know, we're human beings, and it may be hard to find anything outside of that we share in common. But we do have things in common. No matter what we look like, no matter how we dress, no matter who we vote for, no matter, I don't know, anything, who we love. I mean, we don't. But, you know, I think just don't be offensive, maybe, would be the only rule. I don't know. I don't know. But, and it's not limited to women, you know, it could be men as well. But, you know, I know the reason why I don't have a lot of friends, there's a reason actually, is I sometimes struggle with a large group of women, or I used to. Let me rephrase that. I used to. And what changed my mind was going to this retreat in September, the Lone Star Retreat. Totally changed my mind. I was like, okay, you know, these women are very nice, you know, and they seem inclusive. You know, so many of my experiences with larger groups of women were cliques. And even as a girl growing up, you know, there were cliques. And so had pretty much been my experience. So I don't want cliques, don't like cliques. But when I was like, hey, look, you can do this without being in a clique. This is awesome. You know, this is awesome. But I think it would be fun. It would be fun to have a group. Even if it's just me and Ann, that's fine too. You know, I mean, I have no problem with that. But I would like to open it up to others. So anyway, I thought maybe I could talk Max into letting me use his garage, you know, just once a month. And then we're not really limited on, you know, how long we can stay there. I mean, within reason. So, but anyway, so yeah, I do know that I have some new people, which is very exciting to me. You know, getting closer to 900 than I ever thought I would be. Of course, you know, the goal is to get to 1,000. So, you know, if you're not subscribed and you're still here, you might as well subscribe. I think you'd like it here. When I get to 1,000 members, I am going to do a $100 gift card to a diamond painting company. So I haven't decided which one yet. Usually I like to give you an option. But yeah, I mean, I did it when I hit 250. I did 25, and then 50 was 50. 750 members was 75. So yeah. So yeah, I think that would that'd be great if, you know, but you have to be a member. No. I don't have memberships currently. I did, and I canceled them. I stopped using them because I just didn't feel like I was doing enough to warrant them. And so I just quit. But you have to be a subscriber. That's it. And it costs nothing to subscribe. It's not the same as being a member. And if you turn on the notification bell when you do subscribe, you will be notified anytime I go live, which I do on Wednesdays at 2 p.m. I know right now we're all in the middle of time changes, so it depends on where you are in the country. We will be changing we will fall back on November 2nd, so the night of the 1st. And yeah, but I was talking to Carrie, future Carrie. She lives in New Zealand, and it's so odd to me. They spring forward because it's their spring. That is so hard for me to wrap my head around, y'all. I'm just like, what? You know, that's I need to go there is what I need to do. See. And it sounds like when it's there, I don't know though. Does it get really hot there? I'll have to ask her. I bet it does. I bet it does. But it sounds to me like summer is the time to go there for us because it'd be cooler. Let's see. What am I doing now? Well, I'm trying. Let's see. Let's do 30. There we go. do this. Trying to get, some of these down here are ABs, and I like to do my ABs last of the section, because then my putty has a chance to be more conducive to using ABs. So, did anybody get any of the fall releases from Diamond Art Club? I did. And I could kick myself, absolutely kick myself, because the kit was $42, $41.99 or something like that. And I was like, well, I'm going to use my points. Well, I ended up using a $50 reward. What I should have done was done the slider thing, so I could have used, $40 or $42 or something like that. But no, I used the whole darn $50, and so I left $9, $8 or $9 on the table, and I hate that. That upsets me. But anyway, learn from my mistakes. Don't do that. But anyway, so I got it for nothing except for shipping. So I was hoping that maybe, it could cover the shipping. But alas, no, it does not. So, yep, learn from my mistakes, y'all. Learn from my mistakes. That's okay. Did I need the kit? No. Did I like the kit? Yes. It's the one with the 3 pumpkins. I was just like, I like this. I like this. Will I do it for this fall? I don't know. Probably not. But, yeah, probably not. Because I'm working on this kit. And then I also have my Alphonse Mucha. I have it. I actually did a section on it. So I have it. And that's also in November, so I'll be doing that. I'm hoping I will finish this one before the end. That's my hope. And then maybe I could. I don't know. But I like it. So. Now they're just barking for the sake of barking. Because there is not a soul here. No one here but us chickens. Oh, gosh. Hopefully you can't hear them terribly bad. I mean, I guess I could pause y'all and tell them to stop. Okay, let's see if that worked. Sometimes you can tell by their bark that they're just like waiting for someone to go stop. And I don't know why they do that, but they do. They just do. Let's see. Do I have anything coming up? No, I don't think so. I need to contact my doctor. I had a little bit of a health scare last week here in my craft room. My heart started flipping, flopping, and which, I get heart palpitations. That is nothing new for me, nothing unusual. I think a lot of people have them, if not everybody. So no big deal there, except this one started making my chest hurt. It just didn't want to stop. And then I started feeling like I was just slipping, like just getting out of, like I was going to pass out sitting up. Gosh dang it, these dogs. Ay. Anyway, so I called for Max, and he came up here and helped me get downstairs because I was just so... Then I was shaky. My heart was beating out of my chest. I mean, it was not good. But, when you're 62 years old, if you go to the emergency room and you have anything to say about your heart whatsoever, you're going to spend the night. And I just did not want to. So I was like, no, let me just give it a little bit. And I was just done. I checked my blood pressure, and it was elevated. Nothing crazy, but it was a little elevated. And so I was like, nah, you know, not enough to go, oh, stroke or anything. And so I just ended up going and laying on the couch and just resting. I was like, I just have no energy, like none. And then I started thinking, I was like, you know what? I think that I am maybe anemic. You know, maybe I'm not getting enough nutrition. So we have a place here. They've got several locations called Any Lab Test Now. So I called them, said, hey, you know, do you do, you know, anything to check for anemia? She said, well, we do a CBC, which we'll find it in there. And I was like, okay. So I went in. It's like 49 bucks. And because I figured, yes, I can make an appointment to go to my doctor and all of that stuff. But I got a $40 copay. So, you know, I'll just go here, see what it says. And it did. It came back that I'm a little anemic. Not horribly anemic, but anemic nonetheless. So I thought, well, okay. I think I have a doctor's appointment coming up, but it may not be for a while. So I haven't had, well, last night while I was laying in bed, I did have a, you know, like my heart went flip-flop, but it was a painful flip-flop. But I'm fine today, so I don't know, you know, I don't know if I'm not getting enough liquids. I think I am, but I don't know. So, of course, there's reasons you can be anemic. It might not have anything to do with how much nutrition you're getting, you know. So I need to find out, and so I need to take care of that at some point. But, you know, I'm also waiting for my dad. He had a lot of heart tests done, and he's meeting with his doctor today to get the results. So I'm expecting a call from him any minute. And then let's see. Yeah, it's just, you know, but that's it. I don't really have anything planned. Yeah, I don't have any diamond paintings on my radar to purchase. I need to start thinking about doing some more destashing. I did buy me a cross stitch, not the counted cross stitch, the kind that already has it on the fabric. So at some point I may figure out how to do that. Wait a minute, I missed that one. Okay, I'll get it in just a minute. So I do not. I would like to know what you have planned. Anything fun, exciting, anything new diamond painting wise you'd like to share. I'd love to hear it. You know, there's a community tab on YouTube that's on my channel. I believe that y'all can share pictures there and leave. Yeah, I believe you can. So if you can figure it out, I don't know that I could, but if you can figure it out, or you know how, leave a picture of what you're working on. I'd love to see. I know so many times you'll tell me what you're working on, and I'll be like, oh, I really would like to see that. So it also, if you're not a part of the Facebook group for the Diamonds and Doxies, please join. I would love to have you there. You will have to answer a couple of questions. It's just to keep the trolls and the spams and all of that out. So please don't forget that part. I would appreciate it. It would be fun. It's a great way for us to share what's going on in real time. So, yeah. Oh, and I guess I should tell you what all... I told you about my baggie tray here, so I'll real quickly go over my supplies. Let me put this back. This tray is from Grayson's Creations. You can see that there. I love it. I love the size of it. It's thick. It's not flimsy at all. And the sides are really high. So I don't know if, if this will do you any good, but that's how big the sides are, which is great because I'm a shaker. It's got the washi tape thing here. So absolutely do love this tray. My tweezers are from Francesca Studio Works, who's no longer in business, but I like her tweezers, so I used them. This pen, I am pretty sure, is from Butterfly Effect Wares. They're on Etsy. They do a drop every Saturday, so you'll want to get there early. My putty is from Mary Mud. It's called Ghoul's Night Out. I'm sure this one's not going to be available after... well, I don't know, maybe. I don't know. I just say that. But anyway, it smells delish. And, well, not really delicious because I don't like food smells that much. Sometimes they can be sickening to me. So this one smells like perfume to me. So think girls' night out, But it's pretty. And it just smells like some amazing cologne that, Yep. And then I always use glue dots, micro glue dots. I don't know if you can see them on there, but they're micro glue dots. And I use 2 of them in my single placer. Both of my placers are from Diamond Art Club. This is the single, this is the 8 placer. My release papers, to be very honest with you, I'm not 100% sure. I generally buy my release papers from Crafts with Crashly or Bee's Crafty Corner. So it came from one of them. If I had to just throw out a guess, I would say maybe Crafts with Crashly, but I'm not sure. These are older. I do know that because I went on a crazy spree a couple of years ago and bought a bunch of Christmas ones. I don't know why. But anyway, it's either from one of those, but I do believe these are Crafts with Crashly. So, yeah, I think that's all of my stuff, and that's it for now. I think I'm going to try to finish this section today. I might even try to get over here today. Just depends on what all I end up doing, because it is a beautiful day outside. But anyway, thank y'all so much for your time. I know your time is precious. I appreciate you spending it with me. I hope I kept you busy or entertained or whatever the case may be. And I will see y'all later. Alrighty, bye. Bye.